Hi, I'm Daisy. I'm 18 and a college student from Florida. My parents split when I was 12, and I've lived with my mom since then. Last year, my dad passed away from cancer, which hit me really hard because we were super close. He left me a lot of money in his will, but I couldn't touch it until I turned 18. This year, I finally turned 18, and something wild happened. Honestly, I still can't believe how things played out. One day, my stepdad, Arlo, who's in his 40s and has been married to my mom for 5 years, called me into his room. We've never gotten along great, but I've tried to be polite. Still, he hasn't always been nice to me. He said, "Hey, Daisy, I need to talk to you about something important." I asked what it was, and he brought up the money my dad left me. He told me I should give it to my stepbrother, David, for his college tuition. Arlo said David needed it more than I did. I was shocked. I couldn't believe he was asking me to hand over my inheritance. I told him, "I don't think I can do that, Arlo. This money was left to me by my dad. What if I need it later?" Arlo didn't like that and said, "Don't be silly, you don't need that money, and David needs it more." I stood my ground and said, "I'm sorry, but the answer is no." Arlo got mad and warned me, "Daisy, don't push me." I stayed calm and replied, "There's no need to get angry, I'm just being honest. Saying no isn't disrespectful, it's about setting boundaries. If you're mad because I said no, you need to check your attitude. Arlo, remember, you're a guest in this house too, so let's keep it civil." Before he could say anything else, I walked out, saying, "Well, I don't think that's going to happen, goodbye." Arlo's behavior didn't surprise me. I knew he'd eventually ask for the money based on how he's acted in the past. You might be wondering where my mom was during all this. Well, that's another story. My mom, Rose, didn't seem to notice Arlo's flaws. She always stood by him, almost like she was under a spell. She loves me, but I didn't want to ruin her image of him, so I tried to get along with Arlo for her sake. It's funny how, even though I'm one of the youngest in the house, I often have to be the most mature. My mom was out of town at the time, which is why she wasn't there. If she had been, she'd have been furious. That's why Arlo felt he could boss me around, but he didn't know I was onto his sneaky plans. Arlo followed me out of the room, yelling at me and calling me a bad sister for not giving money to David, which wasn't true. I do want to help David, but not like this. When people say, like father, like son, they might be talking about David and Arlo. These two are like a pair of troublemakers. You can decide who's who based on what happened next. "Hey, don't walk away while I'm talking. You need to listen and do what's right," Arlo shouted. "Arlo, can you give me a good reason for that?" I asked. Well, he hesitated. David walked in, rubbing his eyes. "What's going on? Your arguing woke me up." "David, tell Daisy about what we talked about earlier," Arlo said. "Sure, what was it again?" "Oh, right, the inheritance money. Yeah, Daisy, Dad and I were talking, and we need that money for something important." "You mean the business, right?" I asked. "What business? You said it was for my university tuition," David said, confused. Arlo quickly jumped in. "Yeah, that's what it's for, right, David?" "Oh, right, I just woke up, you know. Yes, it's for university. I want to go to college, and I need the money, thanks." I rolled my eyes. "Well, that's a cute attempt, but not cute enough. The answer is no." "Why not?" David asked. "Daisy, he knows what he wants," Arlo insisted. This wasn't up for discussion. "We're getting that money," Arlo said firmly. "We'll see about that," I replied. The rest of the evening was tense. Arlo was known for his silly pranks, but this was different. I realized I was dealing with a very immature and selfish person. I didn't want to tell my mom about it yet. I wanted to handle it myself, especially after I found out something strange. "Daisy, stop playing around. You need to be a grown-up and do the right thing," Arlo yelled. "Huh, and the right thing is giving away my money? Are you okay, Arlo?" I shot back. "Just wait until I tell Mom," I said. "Don't tell Rose anything," Arlo snapped. "Why not? She's my mom. She deserves to know how I'm being treated." "You think she cares?" "Listen, I'm just trying to help you. If you bring this up to her, she'll get upset at you for wasting her time and being selfish." "Well, Arlo, that's a risk I'm willing to take." His angry tone surprised me. I had never seen him so worked up, especially over something like this. Something was definitely going on, especially with that business idea David accidentally mentioned. They thought I wasn't smart enough to figure things out, and Arlo was really against me talking to my mom about it. I decided to talk to my mom as soon as I could. Hey, Mom, how are you doing? I'm good, baby, how about you? Not great, Mom. Something's off with Arlo and David, especially Arlo. He's acting weirder than usual. Oh, Daisy, don't be paranoid. I know you don't really like him, but he's not weird. Mom, he asked me for the inheritance money. What, really? Actually, he demanded it, both him and David. That's not true, he wouldn't do that. I know you love him, Mom, but this is true. He said it's for David's education, but I think something fishy is going on. He even got aggressive when I said I'd tell you. I don't know, baby. I just feel like I need more proof. Don't worry, I'll get the proof, just wait and see. Even though my mom wasn't ready to believe me fully, I kept saying that man had her under a spell. I was determined to figure out what was going on. Late that night, I used the family computer and found something shocking. Luckily, Arlo had forgotten to log out of his email. Big mistake. I saw emails he'd been sending to a woman named Bella. They weren't friendly, it looked like he was having an affair. I took notes, but the next thing I found was even crazier. The emails talked about Arlo divorcing my mom and running away with Bella. He mentioned they'd get a lot of money soon for some business, but it sounded shady. Arlo isn't dumb enough to put illegal stuff in his emails, but he's dumb enough to have an affair and forget to log out. I knew I needed more info, so I decided to talk to David the next day, secretly recording our conversation. Hey, David. Hello, Daisy, you seem happy today. Why not? It's a beautiful day. I've been thinking about what you and Arlo said, and I'm considering giving you the money. Really? That's great, I'll let him know. Not so fast. Before I give you the money, it is for your college, right? Oh yeah, right, my college tuition, yes, right, anyway. I needed to make sure David was serious about wanting the money. Yes, I'm very serious, David said. Are you sure? And what about Bella? Is she serious too? I asked. Bella? Who's Bella? Oh, she's, a college advisor, David stammered. David and I both froze when we realized Arlo had walked into the room. I don't appreciate you interrogating my son, Arlo snapped. I wasn't interrogating him, I was just asking how my money would be used, I replied. Once you give someone money, it's not yours anymore, so it's none of your business, Arlo said coldly. Is that any way to talk to someone who's thinking of giving you money? I shot back. You're not thinking, you're giving me that money. If you don't, I'll kick you out, Arlo threatened. I was shocked, and it looked like David was too. Dad, this wasn't part of the plan, David started. Shut up, I'm the parent, and I make the rules. If you don't give me that inheritance money, you can leave, Arlo yelled. I stayed quiet, but little did Arlo know, I was still recording everything. I had caught him red-handed. I walked out of the room, giving Arlo a furious look, and locked myself in my room. I started gathering all the evidence I could against him. It felt like I was a detective on a TV show, piecing together clues. I had voice recordings and screenshots of Arlo's conversations with Bella. I was ready for the storm that was coming. Once I had everything, I called my mom. Hello, Mom. Hey, love, how are you? Mom, are you sitting down? Why, what's wrong? I have some really bad news, and you're not going to like it. I told my mom everything I had discovered. At first, she kept denying it, but when I played the audio recording for her, she started to break down. Why would he say those things to you? Why would he do this to me? Why is he so cruel? She cried. Because he's a bad person, Mom. I'm sorry, but you married a monster. This is terrible. I can't believe I left you alone with those two. Absolutely not. I'm coming home right now. Stay where you are. Have you locked your door? Yes, I have. I'm going to ruin that man and make sure he never shows his face in public again. When I'm done with him, he'll wish he never married me. That's the spirit. Mom, hurry home. We need to make a plan. My mom arrived a few hours later and came straight to my room. We hugged and cried for what felt like hours. I could tell the news was hard for her, But her anger gave her the strength to take action. We talked for hours and came up with a plan. Over the next few days, Arlo couldn't figure out why my mom had come home early or why she was ignoring him. He tried to act overly happy to convince her of his innocence, but she saw right through it. She was ready to kick him out. My mom hired a private investigator after I showed her the suspicious messages about Arlo's so-called business. She was furious when she realized the money wasn't going to be used for anything legal. She couldn't understand how a parent could be so cruel and scheming. We knew we couldn't handle this alone. The private investigator shared the findings with my mom, who then told me. I'm speechless. What did they find? I asked. It turns out Arlo's planning to use a laundromat for money laundering. It's an old trick, she said. Wow, that's not all, is it? No, Bella, the woman he's cheating on me with, has a criminal record for drug-related activities. She's been arrested multiple times for conspiracy to sell illegal substances. So, it's likely their business involves drugs too. That's unbelievable. I feel like a veil has been lifted from my eyes. The man you married isn't a man at all. He's a sick and twisted person. When are we going to confront him, Mom? Right now. Follow my lead. Wait, let me grab my camera. We went to the living room and found Arlo and David discussing their shady business. And then we'll use this as a cover for our business. Just act like you don't know and serve the customers, Arlo was saying. Okay, but what about, David started. Oh, hey everyone, we're just finalizing stuff for David's college application, Arlo said, trying to act innocent. Cut the act, Arlo, the game's up, we know everything, my mom said. What do you mean? Your innocent act won't work anymore. Smile for the camera, I said, holding up my phone. Get that out of my face, you spoiled brat, I mean, Daisy, Arlo snapped. We know everything, Arlo, do you know how many years you'd spend in jail for planning these crimes? My mom said. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe we should call Bella and see what she has to say, huh? I added. You two think you know everything. Bella is just a friend. Well, the explicit photos suggest otherwise. Who even uses emails to cheat nowadays? It's so dumb, I said. You went through my things? How dare you? No, Arlo, how dare you? How dare you threaten my daughter to give you money that doesn't belong to you? How dare you threaten to kick her out of my house? How dare you put your son in your foolish schemes? And how dare you plan to use this money for illegal activities? Now you've got nothing to say, huh? We know everything, and we're going to take you down. Get that camera out of my face, Arlo shouted, lunging at me. I moved quickly, avoiding him. His aggression was scary. You want to attack my daughter? It's like you want to go to prison. You're crazy. Do you think you know anything? You know nothing, my mom yelled. Yeah, well, tell that to the police, who should be here any second now, I said. Police? Arlo looked panicked. Yes, the police. Your behavior today makes me want to call them even more, my mom said. Just then, we heard police sirens approaching. I had never seen Arlo look so scared. His face went pale, and he started pleading. Please, Rose, you don't have to do this. I can explain everything. Save it for the judge, you cockroach. You disgust me. And David, don't think you're off the hook. Both of you are getting arrested. That should teach you a lesson about mistreating my daughter and me. You're old enough to know better, David, and for that, you need to be punished. Yes, Mom, David said quietly. Come on, Rose, don't you think this is a bit too much? Arlo tried. On the contrary, it's not enough. How's our live stream, Daisy? My mom asked. We've got over 3,000 people watching. This is going to be big. Oh, and in case it wasn't clear, I want a divorce, I said. That's right, over 3,000 people watched the whole mess unfold live, and the story quickly made it to local newspapers and tabloids. It was crazy to be in the middle of it all, but it was also satisfying to see Arlo's downfall.